So it is 11:45 and I'm in my truck. And it's like, why am I in my truck? Shouldn't I be working? Yes, I should be working. So I'm putting down flooring. First thing, I go to pull up some old stuff and find some rot, had to repair it, yada, yada. You know, it's what you do. But then I go to start putting the floor down and I realize there's two saws that I need, a table saw and a jigsaw. And both of them are on another site. Now, that's not such a big deal. I mean, things get to different sites. But the problem is, I was at that site this morning, and I should have picked it up then, but I didn't. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating that when I have to go back and do something that I could have done a while ago, and I have to go fix things. And you know, life is like that. Life is like a lot of times we're in a place and we don't deal with something the way we should. We don't address something the way we should. We don't pick up a skill, a piece of understanding, a truth. And God brings us back and says, okay, you got to go back and you got to go pick it up then. And a lot of times we get frustrated with God. It's like, oh God, it seems like I'm going back and forth, back and forth. And you know what the reality is? You're right. You are going back and forth, but that's kind of what the process is. The process is ongoing. And Peter says, if you have these things in increasing measure, it's like you're going to go back and you're going to deal with it again, and you're going to deal with it again, and and the more you deal with it, the stronger you're going to be, the more tools you're going to have in on the job site, the more capacity you're going to have to do the things that God has called you to, the more understanding you're going to have of who God is and what he has for you, the greater levels of obedience you're going to be able to live through and experience and process and benefit from and get the blessings from. But God says sometimes you got to go back. And sometimes God brings us back to something to show us how much we've grown. God does bring us back, and God does bring us back to learn new things. God brings us back to show us how much we have learned. And sometimes God just brings us back because we need to be reminded of what God has done and what God is doing and what God has called us to. So if God's bringing you full circle on things, don't get frustrated. Like I am having to go get my tools, but I'm frustrated with me, not with God. But it's one of those things, if we can recognize that God is constantly working things out. God not only wants to build something in us, but he wants us to build something strong in us. And God wants us to go back and solidify and to build and to make sure that the structure in our life is sound, because God's not only given us a firm foundation, but God's called us to watch how we build on it. So anyways, I gotta go get my tools. Hope that's been an encouragement to you. God bless you. Bye for now.